always make up something. You know I try to pray for you. Even when we're touching, you always make a fuss. Okay, I'm pushing. Don't test my patience. I'm trying to pace it. You kept me waiting. I try to pray for you. I try to pray for you. Try to play for you. I'll try to play for you, for you, for you. I'll try to play for you, for you. I'll try to play for you, I'll try to play for you. Pray for you, even when there's nothing, you always make up something. You know I try to pray for you, even when we're touching, you always make a fuss. Okay, I'm pushing, don't test my patience. I'm trying to pace it. You kept me waiting. I try to pray for you. Okay, I'm pacing. It cannot wait 'cause you test my patience. I try to pray for you, for you, for you. I try to pray 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 for you, for you, for you. I try to pray for you. Pray for you.
This live stream is sponsored by SCL, an all-in-one CS2 training platform with a practice server, 2D viewer, and unique training modes like Defense Mode. Defend sites against bot executes that get harder every round. And Trade Fire, a pre-fire mode where enemies actually try to trade you. You can run every mode in co-op and track your progress and stats across all your training. Plus, you get an advanced 2D demo viewer. Use code Crossfire40 for 40% off your first month. That's under $3.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the final group stage match here at Crossfire Season 5. My name is Blakett_CS, joined by the always handsome Why Not. And Tony, we have Outfit49 versus Overtake Sector on our hands, and this one's going to be a little bit of a coin flip to me in terms of how the map pool goes, because both of these teams prefer the same maps, but I definitely think the expected result is going to lean in one way or the other.
Yeah, well, I think you're alluding to what we're going to have to probably harken on for quite some time until proven otherwise. The fact that Overtake are pretty heavy over dogs if we're going to be talking about the head-to-head in this matchup. We've seen a little bit of inconsistency as far as the ceilings and the floors, I would say, as that team are concerned, but those ceilings are extraordinarily high, and while the floors are, I'd say, relatively noticeable, I don't think they're as noticeable as can be to be even a question in my mind in the best of three here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're just going to get our predictions out of the way already, I'm going to kind of put it out on a limb that I'm going to say a 2-0 for Overtake. I think that there's possibility for Outfit49 to pull off at least their map pick of Anubis, which is going to be our first map of tonight. But like I said, in terms of the map pool, both of these teams prefer Anubis, Mirage, Dust 2, and we're seeing exactly that. Anubis is going to be picked by Outfit49, Overtake Sector selecting Dust 2, and that Mirage Decider waits in the wings if we so need it. But, Tony, one thing I want to bring up is that Outfit49 lost in 0-2 fashion against Regain yesterday, and Overtake pretty much dog-walked, for lack of better words, Regain in their matchup against each other, where we saw them play Inferno and Mirage. Now, Mirage did come down to overtime, and I feel like that's something that's pretty consistent with Overtake's Mirage, but still, that's going to be the decider, so it's a matter of whether or not Outfit49 can actually push us there.
Yeah, I will say that I think the one map in this series that I'm a little bit more questionable on would be that Mirage, if we're going to be going for much of anything else. I think that the Dust 2 of Overtake definitely has a lot of strengths that definitely I think that they lean into well when it comes down to them being forced to adapt. Maybe there are some question marks as far as that may be concerned. I think that you and I had casted, I believe it was you and I, maybe a different league, nostalgia perhaps, the Detonate game that they had played, and there were some questionable moments from both sides, more so Detonate by the end of it having been the team that had lost in quite an upsetting fashion where they had let that one slip out of their fingertips, actually.
Yep.
Looking back at Overtake's game in that one, they weren't infallible either, right? So assuming that they've done a little bit of that homework on this team, or have just gone back in on themselves and looked at some of the matches that might have had some questionable turns from a CT side, or maybe a CT side that didn't get the start that it would have wanted. I don't really foresee that to be a major issue for them, unless, again, we're proven by Outfit49 that there is a reason for us to believe that.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I believe that one of the Outfit49 players is still being subbed out by Springy, I believe because of some technical issues due to weather making the PC malfunction. I think a Thunderstrike hit the house or something, flipped the power, and then fried a PC. But still, nonetheless, I mean, even if it is Springy, Springy is one of those players that has been well-versed in terms of North American Counter-Strike. I got to play against Passion UA on LAN in Las Vegas, and was the man that was responsible for making Senzu throw his mouse.
You casted them one time, I heard.
I did. I have casted them a single time. But yeah, I mean, Springy is going to be a well-added sub, I think, to this Outfit49 roster. It's just a matter of whether or not they're able to come together and be cohesive as a unit to really find a victory over what feels like a reunion of a team with Umar, Intra, Sacrifice, Lircy, and Jason. So I think this one is going to be up in the air, but as you alluded to, Overtake is a team that doesn't feel unbeatable per se.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a conversation to be had about Springy as a player. In this specific scenario, maybe not necessarily in one where we're stacking him up against Overtake on a regular day, but I think in a substitute position, he's going to be one of those guys that doesn't really give too many cares, I would say, about what would be going on the other side of the server adjacent to him. I think he'd be pretty much just playing his own game without getting in his head or, trying to be somebody or a player that he isn't, just because the odds may be stacked against him or the quote-unquote, experience pool is too far a gap. I don't really think that's something he individually is going to be all too worried about, and that's going to be interesting to see how the other players on that team really follow in that. Maybe not necessarily as far as like a role model or anything is concerned, but conversationally as to how they're going to be playing their game. And as I said about the shortcomings sometimes of Overtake, adjusting it if they have to. Are they going to be able to do that to the tune of their substitute, or are they going to try and drag him along? I hope it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Outfit49, I mean, I touched on how I got to watch them play against Regain last night, where they essentially got mopped across the floor. But I feel like a majority of that was due to them not necessarily playing the map how on paper it should be played. I feel like on Anubis specifically in their matchup last night, they didn't put enough emphasis towards Canal, and that kind of gave Regain free reign on whether or not they wanted to pivot between the A-bomb side or the B-bomb side through that Canal's position. So I'm hoping that there is some evolution that's happened overnight from Outfit49, but still, I don't necessarily have the best of thoughts in terms of them actually being able to pull off this win when these Overtake members on paper are individually so strong.
Yeah, look, it's going to take a lot. I mean, nobody's going to doubt that. I think we can all be realistic with how this one should pan out. It should be an Overtake win, and on paper, again, it should be a 2-0 with or without their full 5. So, given that there isn't a whole lot of data on this Outfit49 team at this level, I would say, even against this caliber of team, I think that they're going to be getting some pretty good official practice in and getting a good rep in that maybe we wouldn't otherwise get on a broadcast, or B, with some eyes on it to actually see what they're made of, what they have left in store for some of these names that for the previous Outfit49 roster. I'm sure that when they saw the announcement coming that this one was being brought on, they were left maybe a little bit confused as to the sudden drop in division and the name value that wasn't exactly there. But that's not to say these guys are nobodies, and that sure as hell isn't to say that they aren't and can't be even better than they are. But again, this is going to be a team where all the eyes are on them to be performing. It's not the other way around. We're expecting Outfit49 to be the underdogs in this one, so it's their time to show us if they can live up to maybe a little bit more than that and punch up in their weight class.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that also offers a level of lack of pressure for them, right? Because they know that, at least in terms of the statistics, they shouldn't be the ones that come out on top. So maybe a little bit more fearless level of play from this Outfit49 roster. But Intra does start off the pistol round. Yeah, a great headshot on demand. And essentially Outfit49 are pivoted right into the B-bomb site early. They have 3 members postured around and a slow lurk coming up E-box. But whether or not this defense will pan out is going to be, at least in terms of a question for Overtake, relatively solid. They've got numbers here to offer and bolster down this hit, and the defensive smoke puts the cherry on top. So as the noise is made, there's contact towards Canals, and Intra is going to walk away with the second frag. And I mean, Overtake are already pivoting to this rotation to try and get the defense bolstered down, and it opens up the door for Outfit49 to leave, but I don't think they're actually going to do that until it's too late.
Yeah, I'll probably go back and discuss what really ruined this round outside of the obvious when we're post, but currently still up and in it, and there's never to say that there's not a shot. 35 seconds on the clock, though. Their time is running out to get anywhere more meaningful than just sitting outside of B main. They have allowed and honestly invited Intra to go into their back lines in order to create an opening to split in through mid, to where Jason goes in for his refight, knowing that the Ghoulies are rushed around the bend. Could be still fine and dandy for them, given that this bomb needs to be planted and there are too many players on target. They're going to disrespect that with Molotov, I think. Yeah, Umar is through it. Player A main, if he's going to need to be the linchpin for this one to be finished off, so be it, but Umar will take it. And looking back, I mean, that one kill from Intra, that's good, right? That's a great opening. Yeah. Super solid to be able to get to say that you have that. But the better part than that is that he sticks around, sits by, and is unwavering in sitting in towards A main. He's got full vision onto what's happening, obviously, in the deep ends of it. Nobody's fighting him, and they're still hearing at least a hitter and a patter on the outside of B main to know that it is going to be that direction. There's no reason for them to get any cute peeks in towards mid, try and walk in deeper into water, not until they're enabled by an additional kill by Intra. So, super good and super confident from him in a moment where, frankly, they don't really have the luxury of not playing confident Overtake. So, maybe a little bit too much there and leaving the A1S out into the middle of the open and recoverable with 5 still alive but low. See if they can rein it back in with Intra, not through A main, but defending it from the inside the site.
Yeah, and Intra's already pulled back ever so slightly to allow the support to be offered up, and that support is going to be sacrificed. Doesn't have to live up to the name in terms of putting his teammate on that altar, but Intra does strike back from the camera position. is also going to hear some footsteps through the canals, but information not communicated, and Umar has a proper reaction, so M4 will be scooped up, more kills to be had towards the canals. Shiraz is left in the 1v3, but only has 12 HP and a Tech 9 to work with, and I'm not seeing a bright future for this one, not when Umar finds the hat trick.
Yeah, I mean, Easy does it after that first pick. Definitely gives them an in to have conversation to a plant or something close to a round win, which could have been. They threw all their money on the line there. That was a round they were looking to find victory and nothing short, right? So, you know, ultimate goal unsuccessful. So now they're going to need to take themselves into conversationalist, see what they can pull from the in-game leader to set them on board for a low buy round. Also keep their heads on a tilt when it comes down to getting their guns out. Isn't going to be happening now, and it's job a lot easier for Overtake to continue on their onslaught, whether it be out in mid or otherwise, but it looks like the former is exactly where Umar looks to continue to find multi-kills. Another one to his name, and the SMG of all things builds mad money for that AWP.
Yeah, that op of Umar, one of the most frightening things to play against. And we'll have plenty of cash in the back pocket, as you mentioned, $9,100. I'm not sure if he's going to drop the MP9 and just all-out purchase it, but if you're at 7-0 as it currently stands, I mean, no reason to really get rid of that MP9 until you absolutely have it ripped out of your hands. Round 4 will be the first rifle round from Outfit49 we're going to see. And like I said, in their prior matchup against Regain, it felt like they put a little bit less emphasis in towards canals, and I'd like to see more of that, or at least more canals aggression from the side of Outfit49 to combat Overtake finding the easy information, but early utility back towards A main. Double up as well. It's going to be Umar and Intra. Intra offering up that block smoke, and it does land a little bit short, so Man's given the opening to run right in, but it's stonewalled by the MP9 of Umar. Has plenty of money. I mean, Umar, $9,700, picks up the AK-47 as well, so even if one of his teammates do go down, a successful financial gain.
Now leaves
progress.
Sound cues kind of sporadically and scattered, but I think just close enough to the central side of this map where they're going to be knowing what's happening right now, no?
Yeah, I mean, the only redeeming factor is that they have Depend outside B main. Hasn't made contact just yet. You can also see that Sacrifice and Learseer are both completely prepared for this, as having Umar deep into canals alleviates a majority of the pressure that would surely come up through E-Box. And so, Alpha49 just going to kind of corral outside of B main. The Molotov is going to delay the push even further, but Springy's going to be the main proprietor of the utility. And actually is dissuaded from it, just looking for all-out gunfights, but this is where 3 members of Overtake are completely waiting in the wings. The flashbang pops, Learsee's able to find an activation onto Shiraz, but Depend is there for the trade. Springy takes things into his own hands and converts a kill, but now it's all onto Depend. See if he can live up to the name, but Jason shuts it down. And it feels like Outfit49 are kind of linear in terms of their actual attacks and are a little bit too... What's the word I'm looking for? Not predictable, but they're too... yeah, choreographed. That's the exact word that I'm looking for.
The best word. I love using that. I gotta find a new word other than that to use. Sometimes I find myself wanting to say it too much. But, no, I mean, for the first use of the broadcast, it's absolutely correct. We're gonna be looking in on how these rounds have really played out. It's maybe due in part to the fact that this team in Outfit49 might be self-aware of the fact they don't have very many players who can operate solo dolo on a mission to try and find opening picks or space. You know, if we're going pound for pound. And in that, they kind of need to take up the group pack mentality. So you're going to be seeing 2, if not 3 people in every position of the map. And maybe if there is one player on isolation, it's them more so just reining in any of the ideas that their opponents in Overtake might be looking to employ. And that's going to be the SMG and the Deagle at a distance from one another, sure. Very much so packed in together, and then back towards B main go the other 3. So see if that actually does come out to work for them, because soon enough we might need to see something a little bit more pacey with a little bit more set utility to go out the spawn. But protocol in place, I can only imagine by Overtake, is going to be too good to be fooled. One would hope.
Lucas is tucked. Lucas tucked in towards this B main. Smoke Molotov outside Evox. Evox does stunt his own team's growth, but Lucas does capitalize on the timing. Able to convert onto Learsey. That's a rifle down for the taking for this Outfit49 lineup, and they have access to this bomb site cut and dry. I mean, there is one rifle in the hands of Shiraz, but they still need to contest against the AWP of Umar that surely is going to crawl in towards Temple, and once that op shot rings out and doesn't find a home, it essentially allows Outfit49 to feel the confidence they need to continue defending this site. They've revealed the location of a player down into canals, but Springy puts the cherry on top, and the rest of Overtake sector should go running for the hills. I mean, Umar has a hefty amount of cash into that back pocket, but it's not worth risking.
Well, there's finally some fuel to the fire, and seeing as it was as successful as this, and given the fact that this is one of the rounds they were the less equipped in comparison to their opponents, if not the least equipped they've been in comparison, given that Umar had his op and they had full nades, no SMGs outside of Extremity to really have to worry about. This is going to be conversation starter, right? Now we're into something a little bit more based in reality rather than hypotheticals.
And it's interesting to say that Outfit49 are pulling off a round like that, right? Where they had a MAC-10, upgraded pistols, and bits and pieces of utility, but I feel like that came down to that. And you had mentioned a little bit of a more set style of Counter-Strike, but it didn't feel like that off of the rip. They were kind of pivoted into it, but still that brash and really bold style of Counter-Strike.
No, I was
really
saying that
getting
was
in the
their next
face
step.
of... okay.
That was their next step if what was already being employed wasn't working.
Gotcha. I mean, I still think that it does show some level of that, at least in that last round, right?
Yeah.
Not in maybe off of spawn, but still being able to really get into the faces of Overtake when you need to,
Sure.
and starting to show that level of disrespect.
Curious to see just how late the mid players activate or early in comparison to that of which are just on the precipice of A main, looking to deepen themselves in moments with utility to boot. And Molly could see a split in either direction, so they're going to need to be cognizant of it, Overtake, and turn from both sides. But fortunately for them, they do have 3 players here in some capacity, one way or another. Ace towards mid, sacrifice head down, peeks himself up, spots out Springy, takes him at a moment's notice, and Jason has no problem. He's got a player on Crossfire, as the name of the entire league would imply. That probably is one of the better ways of operating on a bomb site hold, and the CTs do it oh so well. Not a moment after that round loss, and it feels like they're back in the driver's seat, Blaker.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Intra is able to go completely uncleared at the pillar kind of feels criminal, and then it also kind of shows the game, or the holes in the game plan, I think, from Outfit49. I felt like they were a little bit too urgent to jump the gun and actually take the space rather than crossing all T's and dotting all I's to make sure that no one was waiting
Like sacrifice.
for any sort of contact. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And so, I mean, Umar currently sits at 9-0, has the AWP in hand. We even saw a crafty boost coming towards B main that I think will make an appearance and have even heftier of an effect coming into these later rounds. But Outfit49 still at the point that I would say, rather than being put into the back seat, they're being stuffed into the trunk.
Oh, God. Bit morbid. Is Outfit 50 a body bag?
It might be.
Alright. Smoke goes deep. They will go beyond it. They will not be pressured by any more of Overtake's members. Going to be given that space as far as the next point is concerned, though. Umar was ready and awaiting to blow open the smoke and see if anybody was on the aggro, but he had done it for him and he missed his chance. Molly will go deeper, and that will mean that he's got no more opportunities to go for those swings, so Umar will be silenced for the time being. Back to A main, and that's going to be pretty impressive for this timing, actually, to have really negotiated no time to rotate for Overtake if they wanted to commit. They've done just good enough in both E-Box and B main to get them on pressure and high alert, but after that kill, and after having as much B main control, they're going to need another player here soon enough. Damage on the spray, it will not be decent without the conversion of Jason, and thankfully he is on a tight angle at the broken wall, flash for flash, and the Opera is blind, and he spotted the second at the pillar. That might be game ending for them. Overtake had a split second in which this round might have been a much different look. In the end, It's Overtake who still hold a 4 now 3 versus 1, and he's stuck at A main with barely any health and an op.
Yeah, I mean, the op is going to be the tool of choice if you don't have the HP to work with, but it's a matter of Shiraz being able to open up the 1v1 duels. But a team like Overtake shouldn't necessarily give that up with relative ease, and Shiraz is playing a dangerous game. The jiggle spot happens, Jason wrangles the AK spray. The 6th round for Overtake. Plenty of money in the bank accounts as well, and Outfit49, I feel like, have to start making up their mind on how they actually want to play the rest of this half, because it feels like the bleeding can't necessarily be stopped.
Got themselves semblance of a purchase. And too crazy though. Seen some B pressure work for them once before, but it's all going to be feign. It's all going to be a ruse as they're going to continue in through mid. As they've tried little by little to really sneak their way through on better timings here and there, then and again. To no major success, but a little bit more speed to it. The majority of their nades dedicated to it. Does look like they've gotten dominantly what they would have wanted. They've also stuffed all the eye lines of Overtake, so Umar's off. Though he doesn't get a kill there, he gets more than valuable information in just knowing that they're around and by.
Yeah, this early 3B start has been a little bit interesting, at least in my eyes. I feel like we would have seen more pressure towards bridge from Overtake. Just trying to collapse the amount of space and really take the information away from the side of Outfit49, but I feel like when the shots are connecting, you don't necessarily need to go for the aggressive plays. You can just wait for the Outfit49 members to walk into the crosshair. It feels like that's going to be the game plan here. We exchange flashes outside of B main, and a third one will put the finishing touches, but Depend and Lucas are going to be the ones to trade out for Outfit49. Umar misses a shot of the AWP and is chunked down on his own, but Intra's made the arrival through Temple. Converts a kill onto Shiraz, that's the opt down, and Umar says my 762 is bigger than yours. But Intra will be the one to put us onto the Brazil scoreline at 7-1 between Overtake Sector and Outfit49.
What is a 762? Is that another word for the sniper, the op in real life or something?
It's the caliber of bullet that the op shoots, a 762 by, I think, 51.
Okay. That's big
Some
brain.
ball knowledge.
That's cool. Knowing real life stuff? Lame. Rated.
You gotta try and whip out some interesting knowledge bits, but for Outfit49, it's not going to be too interesting. It's just going to be a full-out B push. Jason goes completely uncleared into the window and does knock 3 down. It's a wonderful spray of the AK-47, and Umar jumps down that late lurk, so Depend is all on his lonesome, trying to find some sort of space, and has somehow walked out of B, but Depend not going to have too much of a great time, at least in the latter stages of round 9. Round 10, waiting in the horizon. Overtake still very clearly into the driver's seat, whether it's the financials or even the firepower.
Darn shame. Gave him the best conversation we could. I would say Outfit49. They weren't getting much better than that. Map number 1. Relatively early days. It's not a done deal. Gonna need to get to a whole new zone. One that we've not yet witnessed. And there goes 2 aggressive picks in mid, almost out the gate. Immediately back, it's Depend to swing wider, but he's lost his linchpins to be able to keep him any safer for what may be to come. Shiraz now needs to pull back in order to fill that space, but even then, doesn't play as comfortably in his side as he would have wanted him to. Still drops a body. Not have been there on time, but in time, he will have his chance.
He's been given the weapon of choice. It's also worth noting that that's only Umar's 2nd death of this map. With Intra close on the tail of Shiraz, as soon as he turns his gaze back towards B main, and he did a double take for just a moment, but Intra will activate from top mid, so Tony, I'm not sure what else Outfit49 can really change, because I was talking about how I wanted to see them take more Canals control in their matchup against Regain, but it feels like even when they do that here, Overtake are just already prepared for the site hit that comes in. And we mentioned the word choreographed earlier in terms of feeling like Outfit49 were doing just that. But is there anything you see that could be changed from the side of Outfit49, or do you think it's just a difference of the raw firepower?
I mean, it's absolutely a difference in the raw firepower. That goes without question. But if you're gonna, like, try and make the best of whatever the situation is, then the firepower aside, which isn't something you can actively change, or retroactively for that matter, it's gonna need to be a little bit more cute. It's gonna need to be funnier. We're gonna need to get a little silly. We're gonna need to get a little wacky. I like to see a lurk smoke on B that's aggressed on by a MAC-10, and it abuses and uses the fact that Umar's been at B a majority of the time. He can only do so much. So, what I was going to say is former that they needed to go a little crazy, and they did exactly that. They're going to need to start to dip into the gimmicks. They're going to start to need to do some things that are out of the box, to which Overtake or have seen a million times, and again have the better and higher level of protocol to deal with.
Yeah, and it's also worth mentioning that Jason, amidst all that chaos, was able to find a kill that gave him the bomb. So although Outfit49 find their way onto the B bomb site, they can't really do much with it, as the last two members of Overtake have already nestled themselves in towards top stairs. Jason kind of playing hall monitor back towards T-spawn and is soon to run into two players, but after a little bit of a whiff of the spray, won't find an activation. Depend gets shut out of the round, and with 25 seconds left, Intra and Jason are both just going to try and make their last stand. The Crossfire's being held. Jason's going to take contact first, and Intra's not even needed in terms of the touches that close that round. And Overtaker staring down the barrel of an 11-1 map win. On the map pick of Outfit49, mind you.
On that, stare down the barrel of that Dust 2. And, I will say I honestly thought that they had a better chance on Dust 2 than Anubis, just on paper. Outfit49, even though this is their pick. I think starting out on a comfortable side on Dust 2 is definitely a chance for them to at least discover where Overtake may have some weaknesses. The weakness in the A-bomb site typically hasn't been the case, and Umar is just going to hit a little collateral. Little 1-2 straight through. Jason making it all the easier with his damage and leaving two players still yet to make their way into this side of the map. It's going to be too far gone.
Then finds an activation from bottom stairs. But how much actual difference that will make into round number 12 is going to be the next question. Bomb down right in front of the pillar. Umar has the knife out and is edging both of the smoke, so Jason refreshing the smoke that's in front of Umar. It's going to be even more of a difficult task to find Outfit49 with a foothold into this A bomb site and even in a position to recover the bomb. The boost comes up. It looked like a run boost for a moment's notice, and they're going to have their second go at it, but someone's not communicating properly, and Umar hits a sleeper of a no-scope. Depend, all he can do is spam through the smoke. It will fade away, and Umar finds 4. I almost want to say that Jason found the first kill, because it looked like Outfit49 kind of lined up on that exit out of A main, and I think that the collateral didn't necessarily go all the way through, and Umar was the one that found that lineup shot at what I would say is the exact same time, because they were all still in line.
Yeah, so Jason killed the first guy and then damaged the other two, and then he just went boop. He said, "Thank you." Setting him up for success, even accidentally, and he'll take it, right? Who wouldn't?
I mean, yeah.
Blam, blam, thank you, ma'am. Asking to beat. I like to see this. It's got some resolve to it. Sticking to their guns, and even though it might not work, even still it shows that they're not going to be wavering from what their game plan has been thus far in this match. 2 versus 4, and one that could be turned, especially if both of your CNA. Timing for a kill apiece, and there's no immediate kill back on either side of this. He's running out of ammo, though. He's going to need his teammate on the back clear to fight for him. The swing on wide. He's done so well. The reload is on, and Learcy's into a clutch where he only needs to hit one shot, and he's done so this round all the way through. 3, the 4th, a shoe-in? Not quite. Now with his health being where it's at. There was a moment where Man was reloading, but Man on fire, at the very least giving them a little more room to work with on a multi.
Yeah, and I like the sentiment you made about although the sight hit might not work in its entirety, it shows that Overtake still aren't dissuading from their own game plan. I mean, the fact that that was brought even remotely close, I think speaks numbers to the aforementioned protocol we were talking about on the CT side, and just the cohesion that Overtake have as a unit. I mean, this roster, as individuals, minus Umar, are well-tenured players, have been playing together for some amount of time, so...
Umar's got a lot of...
Well, honestly...
A lot of tenure experience.
Well, not necessarily I'm saying Umar lacks the tenure, but more so the reps with the rest of the squad.
Oh, sure.
I mean, Learcy, Intra, Sacrifice, and Jason have all played on, Party Astronauts, Fluffy Aimers all together. And so I think that
with,
level of...
2 of the 3 of these guys for a couple years, too. On separate teams.
Ah, okay.
Electrify Steel, Take Flight also at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. They've all got like separate trios that they've had throughout their career. It's interesting also to see that they've pulled them together. This late in the game, if you want to say late, not like they're old. They've turned this around, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, this late mid-walk is happening from both Springy and Shiraz. Shiraz does have the better of the weaponry. But whether or not that M4 will make its appearance early and actually be forced into the save, I think is going to be the end result. Shiraz still lagging behind Springy a little bit. But the MP9 is still a weapon to be contested with. Springy makes his entrance, crossing all corners, making sure that no one's home, but Springy spots the player back flat. Shiraz is going to put the cherry on top to Intra, but Umar and Learcy convert when it matters most. And it's Overtake, looking down at Outfit49 and wondering what more could they have done, because we're already on the cusp of Map 1 victory for Overtake. I mean, what, we're, I want to say 20 minutes into this game, and it's been a really quick one, Tony.
Too quick. No, probably about as quick as we were anticipating it to be. It's a tough ask to come back all this way, even when they were given littlest bit of walkway, leg room after the pistol that did come down to the 1 versus 1, all things considered. There's so much more was required from that point forth. We just hadn't seen it. We're going into what is a primary lean. The CTs in towards mid. 3 online, but 4th and Depend having pulled his way back on a timing closer into his bomb site. And it could have been potentially the worst of those timings, because they're starting to make their pressure back at A, and I doubt that they're going to cancel it unless told otherwise by Jason on the alert. He's caught no wind of anybody.
Damn. Springy not able to mount any sort of defense with the 5-7. It's going to be the rest of Overtake just trying to charge up towards heaven and take all of the space that they can. Because Outfit49, they've essentially given up this A bomb site and forced it to be played in a retake. Depend has the single rifle for the side. Has a smoke on the belt as well, so if his teammates are able to alleviate some of the pressure out of heaven, then it feels like there's room to work back into this, but they're going to have to get a jump on the gun. There's 20 seconds left on this bomb. The flashbang comes out. Umar able to convert 2. Intra found a 3rd, but Umar is going to clean it all up. It's a 13-2 victory for Overtake on the map pick of Outfit49 being Anubis. And Tony, that leaves me with some questions going into Dust 2, because I feel like Dust 2 is a map that requires a lot more raw firepower than a majority of the other maps in this current pool. But if things keep going how they are for Overtake, they should be able to take this 2-0, which, I mean, to be fair, is what you and I both expected. But in this kind of fashion, what more can you really say?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about the fact that Umar was on a hot to trot all the way through and through, whether it be on an op or not. I mean, talking about how his capacity to take over a game has really just elevated them in this at least division that they're playing in currently in Crossfire. It's been something spectacular, and given the fact they're going on to a Dust 2, that you say, yeah, a little bit more mechanically lenient to certain individuals, and Umar is that individual. He's going to be somebody after that performance that I'm not expecting to slow down. I'm expecting him to keep that pace and maybe even up it in some degree. When he's at the mid doors to play through, you got to be worried about that. And he's going to be starting T-side, I can only figure, or rather, I guess, no, that was, yeah, he's going to be starting T-side, I can only figure, given it's their map pick, so Can he be combated is the question. Can anybody in any sort of semblance actually shut down the mid control that they'll look to go for?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a question of whether or not the opticals actually work in favor of Outfit49, but we'll have to save that question until we get there, because we have map number 2 between Outfit49 and Overtake Sector coming at you after this short break.
This live stream is sponsored by SCL, an all-in-one CS2 training platform with a practice server, 2D viewer, and unique training modes like Defense Mode. Defend sites against bot executes that get harder every round. And Trade Fire, a pre-fire mode where enemies actually try to trade you. You can run every mode in co-op and track your progress and stats across all your training. Plus, you get an advanced 2D demo viewer. Use code Crossfire40 for 40% off your first month. That's under $3.
I try to pray for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have map number 2 of Dust 2. Dust 2, that's the map I'm looking for. I'm blanking for a second. But we have map number 2, Dust 2, between Overtake Sector and Outfit49. But Tony, before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to give a thank you to one of the companies that helps put on Crossfire Season 5, and that's going to be scl.gg. And Tony, I'll tell you what, SCL is a tool that's not only helpful for individuals trying to improve their gameplay, but also broadcast talent like you and I. I mean, I get to use their 2D demo reviewer to really find some tendencies with whatever team I'm watching that afternoon, because their 2D demo viewer allows me to overlay multiple demos on top of each other at once. And I mean, one of the tendencies that I'll say here is that Umar tends to get very aggressive on a map like Dust 2, whether it's peeking through corners, the corner of long, or even going for cat fights with that AWP. But that's something that I look forward to in this matchup. But like I said, Tony, a thank you to SCL before we get into map 2.
I use SCL as a player and a coach and an analyst and a caster. So, like, literally anything that you can imagine having to use this tool for, it has everything you may need. Like, the warm-up feature, if it's 7 minutes, man, and you're going to be feeling ripe and ready for whatever match you have upcoming, I'll tell you what. And we're going to be going into this game, and talk about being ripe and ready. Overtake are certainly there, and I hope that in the off period in which they've had a couple of minutes, there's been a talk, maybe a hit of the DM for a player or two for the side of Outfit49, because that was where they were getting gapped quite religiously, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, it was a one-sided affair through and through. I mean, Overtake really showed their confidence, I think, throughout that map in terms of Umar starting off on a hot streak. I think at one point he was 16-2, if I'm not mistaken. And we saw each individual player of Overtake sector really kind of take the reins in their own kind of terms. But for the side of Outfit49, it was a little bit lackluster. And like you said, whether that came down to the raw firepower being outdone, which on paper it should be, it felt like some of the even strategy from Outfit49 wasn't all that there, whether it was the splits that were attempted to be done, but it felt like they had more opportunities when they just full-on executed on the sites.
Yeah, no, I think that taking themselves into a bit of a death ball mentality was certainly working out well. But that was also assuming that there wasn't an early duel given over by Overtake that took them one player down. So, a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, and a lot of unrealized, at the very least, potential for the side of Outfit49, with more room to do it with one full map left. They've not yet been binned, so smoke thrown to be whipped out, actually for Xbox more accurately, to try and wade them off from seeing into lower tunnels. It will still have mid vision to a certain degree, to which Man is going to be the one jiggling on it, with Lucas staring down lower and spamming. No connection, so now they're going to need to dip back and away. It will soon fade. They're going to pop. They've still got a set of flashbangs in addition to the smoke they will throw later on, I can only imagine. Regroup back, player on Cat, and can't die.
Absolutely cannot. Overtake starting to gear themselves up for this catwalk push, but that defensive smoke does put a little bit of a parking brake on, if you will, for Overtake sector. Forced to make a decision on whether or not they want to pop right through this, and that will be the decision that is made. Lucas forced to drop down into CT, but Learcy's able to walk away with the scalp of Shiraz, and Jason converts onto Man. So Man advantage for Overtake sector as they punch the numbers in. 50 seconds turned into 40. And Lucas and Springy are having their own effect from CT spawn, but two players from Overtake are already establishing post plans towards Catwalk, and that makes this retake feel all that much more difficult. But as the fight unfolds, Intro will need assistance. It's going to be his teammate close by, and Jason, that peers around the corner and does find the head of Springy, but Depend has the backstab and is able to walk away with 2 kills. And the defuse will come to fruition for Outfit49, bearing that he's able to get there fast enough, and he will. So the donut turned into the breadstick a lot sooner than it was on Anubis.
Yeah, will have been a little bit closer if that player on site had just literally a full second to have stayed clear of his range of vision, but that's not going to be the case, not the world we live in, and that's not the closest round I think we've had as far as a pistol round is to go, then I don't know what will be. It's about a little bit tighter than that of the Anubis second half pistol. We're going to be talking momentarily about what that will mean for the finances, so long as they convert, so long as they get over this without there being an early kink in the play and Depend out in the middle of no man's land. No supportive flashbangs to be spoken on. Way too late, actually. And there may be a fallback from his teammate at the side, but look, another rifle on the ground for them to put in the hands, and this is not going to be the best start. As a matter of fact, it quite literally could have been maybe no worse, given the fact that Springy was also tagged up.
Yeah, and it just looked labored that entire long take.
Uncleared.
Jason able to find Man on the angle that, like you said, goes uncleared, but Lucas able to capitalize on a little bit of the overzealousness to deploy that smoke and really put a little bit of a diversion into the minds of Outfit49. Overtaker's still going to try charging up towards ramp where 2 members of Outfit49 reside, and Lucas is able to strike 2 down. Has a smoke to obscure his exit if he so chooses, but for the time being, when the bomb gets punched in, Sacrifice is a little bit behind towards Long. Has the scout, maintains resonance towards Car, and Springy should be caught off guard, but the reaction is in order. And Outfit49 find a second round, and this is a way better start than we saw on Anubis, so hopefully they're able to continue this role.
Easier said than done, my friend. Seen them flounder in moments of necessity where they need to stand strong. And given that round is another Blaker where they get that bomb planted, where they get a significant number of kills, it will give them a buy-in. But he tagged again by Sacrifice this time. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to find themselves a different way of getting into the round early, because that was the best case scenario, getting out long doors with no refrag, but now they've been stuffed. Oh no!
Flashbang and defend, able to convert 2 kills. Lil does get recovered for Depend, and Sacrifice dropped by the HE grenade. Now Outfit49, I mean, at least applying the pressure out towards long, have found success. Jason goes a little bit unchecked towards Catwalk, but Lucas is there to rebound all of the contact. So Sacrifice, with no kills to his name, is going to at least find one onto Man. A crazy shot, if you ask me. Springy doesn't have the HP to work with out towards mid. Tech9 is drawn out. Sacrifice is convinced that there's someone close. As to whether or not they're on the boxes or tucked into the corner is still yet to be decided.
Have themselves a time now with finally a broken eastside economy from Overtake, just flat out. No buys back this time. Be something of half nature with Tech9 mixed in, a flash or two, but 4-0 is very easily and early on slated. That's the kind of lead where you're going to be feeling good, but it's not going to be all said and done. You've not even seen the Beast awoken just yet. You've seen them in 50% less of a capacity even.
And it almost makes you wonder if Outfit49 are going to get even more aggressive to try and shut down some of the early economy games. So round 4 isn't necessarily a round you'd like to do that, considering that Overtake sector are on upgraded pistols, but still, I think a little bit more... What's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more resolve is going to be needing to be shown throughout this map number 1, so... we'll have to see if we end up getting there. Overtake have found space up towards Catwalk, but not without taking attacks of their own. Jason going to be the one to hit the floor. Outfit49 are still relatively postured even across this map. AWP of Shiraz is maintaining overwatch of Catwalk. That's exactly where Overtake are going to try and overwhelm.
Down for it to a degree. Raw's on standard angles, playing it as you should, not wavering from them, even with the flashbang taking a timing shot. It works out well. Adjustment may be a slight bit over that shoulder, but it's the bomb plant that they're just vying for as best as they can, but cover not available when there's still a player at top side of the box just waiting to spring into action. Smooth, handled very, very well. No reason to fear themselves yet another, although it might not be a guarantee to a map of any degree. I think it'll still make them feel pretty darn good on the inside, knowing they're getting this close to being able to split the half without there even being a round posted by their opponent.
Yeah, but this is where that Feral Beast does awake. You mentioned that Outfit49 have only contested against what I would say, or what you had said, was around 50% of the full potential of Overtake, considering the weaponry that they had available to them.
This is it.
And now we're seeing the AWP in the hands of Umar. AK-47s for the rest of the squad, and hopefully Umar's able to have some sort of impact in this round number 5. Still no kills to the name just yet. Lucas should be offered up on the chopping block. Has Man close by on the catwalk to try and offer up that bait and switch, but Intra just awaits around the corner, and I'm not assuming he's going to get too aggressive anytime soon. Maybe off the back of the smoke. The flashbang will go flying, but Lucas close by on that angle does walk away with an AK-47 for his troubles. Molotov to prevent any further push from Overtake sector. It will successfully stunt their growth for the time being. See Learcy's still kind of on an island back towards A long, does scoop up that bomb, and considering that he's walking back towards P-spawn all the way towards B, I have a feeling that this round is going to end that way, and Sacrifice able to take advantage of his teammate jumping across the doorway, but Shiraz is going to be put under the microscope with that AWP.
Gonna be Springy at the doorway, still standing in front of it and fighting without much of fear. Needs to flip on back and around, and once doing so, he will be eventually bested, tested. This B bomb site was by the finish, which we might not have been expecting, but success in killing out the defenders does not necessarily translate into round 1. So here goes the big test. Passed. Outfit49 look up to the challenge here on Dust 2, at least immediately. At face value. They're not ready to lay down and die.
And not just yet. Money will be somewhat in order for this Overtake sector lineup. They do have full loss bonus, but you can see that it's going to be relatively scrappy. Everyone but Umar has to sell their shoes to pull off this semi-rifle buy. 3 Galils, an AK-47, and a Tech 9. But that one AK-47 has plenty of firepower to make an entrance out towards A long. Depend gets a little bit too big for his britches and does end up falling to the floor. Now Outfit49 still a little bit slow to the rotation. Jason able to convert a kill onto one of those rotating players through CT, but the other two finally starting to make their way back. A shot of the AWP, the smoke to obscure the vision. And Overtake do have full control over the A bomb site. Whether or not Springy and Man actually go for this fight, I feel like is cemented after that kill onto Sacrifice. It's going to be a matter of Man going first and Springy going for the trade.
Out they'll walk with no one immediately on angle, but eventually rounding that bend, it'll be Learsey with a reaction that can't be beat, and Springy may die, but Learsey, knowing that he's low, really can't play any more supportively than trying to play for his life in the clutch, and that is a smooth clothesline. All he'll really see is ahead, and only for a second before he's dead. Their first round, and one that was still, even by the finish line, one very, very close and well-kempt. No dice. Comes to the finisher. Out for the retakers, looking to have gone clear to the 6-0.
And this is where Outfit49 can't be dissuaded from continuing this fight they've put up to this point. That swing does come out. Umar is able to punish. Not sure the necessarily reason behind Lucas going full out charging. But Overtake able to compensate. Cheat grenade narrowly misses Learsey. And Depend is having second thoughts about whether or not he should stick around, but will trust his instinct and burrow into the pit. Man is close by towards bottom mid to offer any support. But Overtake are looking a little bit labored on some of these space take plays that they're trying to pull off.
Pin it on them. Players on either side of the doors that are not going to be fast enough to rotate, and it's going to be a lot of pressure put on it, particularly Depend, to be honest with you. That's going to be potentially the biggest of their downfalls. They've already walked around so silently to the point where Shiraz may not be prepared for them already to have crossed in towards the site. Umar is spotting, but so too is Shiraz, even then still on high alert. In that, going to need to be the swing off on Intra, who was farther than that of his first teammate, so that will be an unexpected surprise to Depend even then, and now having so many more players around him, there's just not enough firepower to bolster the bomb site. They get taken in two. Springy even seen at the end there as a wild spray from Jason. Will not matter that he goes down out the round in the palm of his hands regardless.
And Springy's just forced to run for the hills, cut the losses. Especially knowing that Overtake are already on the hunt for this attempted recovery mission. But Overtake are a little bit isolated for the time being, so if they stay that way later into this hunt, then there's opportunity for Springy to come out on top of at least one of these gunfights. With 5 seconds left on the post-round clock, not too much to be had, and Sacrifice actually spots the shoulder, but Springy does live to see another day. AWP comes out into the hands of Jason for Overtake, but back timeout from Outfit49, and seems like the CT side starting to slip through their hands ever so slightly, but if they're able to hemorrhage some of the bleeding, they might have a statement to be made to close it out.
Splitting this, like, 7-5 is going to be just good enough for Overtake's sake. You're going to be cool with that. Then get to that stage in it where now the conversation should be the buy/save slash force, pardon, for Outfit49. I'd say even a potential 1-up right now and just working around the rifle is more than ideal. Ready for what's to follow now as your loss bonus ascends to a 3rd. On control is theirs on through no contest. Now they've got to think to themselves, what is the setup? What is the plan? Should that have been the case? Should that have been true? Ready for there to be a move made through the backside of that smoke. It will not happen. It'll instead be a spring to life in mid, to which Umar immediately slices.
Like a knife through butter. Those AK bullets split the scalps. Now smoke deployed, refreshed for the side of Overtake. They find free access to this A-bomb site. I feel like the little bit of information that Umar was able to collect towards top mid in regards to the eco push happening in that section of the map solidifies the fact that Overtake are completely cognizant that Outfit49 have gone for this mid push. Jason's going to maintain overwatch of the flank. Doesn't have any support with him, so if these pistols are able to overwhelm, then there's an argument to be made that he should go down, but a few players will join forces. That's going to be Intra, and it's going to be Umar, but Jason for the flashbang. Intra on top of the head, able to wrangle the spray. Jason walks away with a kill of his own, and man is sent running for the hills. No opportunity, no option other than to save this M4A1S.
Which is not bad. It's actually pretty good. Well, he carried into that round, really, so leaving with that armor and a kit, that's pretty big, to be frank. Alleviates a lot of their mates' minds with any additional conversation of what to buy and where, and now have the luxury of an additional rifle to which they would have been just swarming with either maybe a scout even on somebody as a fallback, but okay. Oh, doesn't do them very much good when they're down a player in the first 10.
Yeah, rather than the scout making its damage known through the double doors, it's going to be Umar with the AWP sitting Springy out of this round. Sacrifice able to walk away with 1. A little bit of a team kill towards top mid as Lucas creates that confusion, but on the attempted getaway is able to escape. So, man advantage secured for Outfit49. 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock, and Overtake have been given free access to pivot anywhere they so please across the map, but the decision feels like it's going to be late mid. And Lucas playing hall monitor might be caught off guard. The op makes its appearance. Umar spots both, and the flashbang rings out. That should allow Sacrifice to go hunting, but Umar instead is going to put man's head above the mantle. Block smoke in towards upper B, stunts the growth, but still plenty of time for Overtake to make their way across the map and really dissect where these two Outfit49 members reside.
Silence befalls the map, with the sniper being so unheard of. The last 5, just going to be the walkout. Full on dry. Contact play, with obviously there being an aforementioned player inside this B site. He has been dealt with. It's Depend, the one who was the unknown entity who couldn't make his way back over to trade, knowing he also had to remain the guardian of A. He tries to go over, and Umar's got an angle and one at that might be slipped through by Depend. He might just shoot him in the side, and then it's a matter of isolation onto Sacrifice, but he's dropped off, went back sight. Good play. It's so much more dependable, but that molly will force him into the open kill nonetheless from Umar. Lives to even tell the story about he and Sacrifice were able to split 5 kills between them to enable the 4th straight.
I mean, Umar, with the opening frag in that round, being able to find it through bottom mid, I think made that situation all that more easy, because if Springy doesn't go down on the mid cross, then, I mean, Outfit49 have more tools to work with in the cabinet, but another shot rings out. Man's going to be the one to be chopped down at the current moment in time. Intra is a little bit isolated coming out of the doors, and Springy able to capitalize on some of the jumping plays that are happening, but Springy finds 3. The MP9, well worth its money. And an AK-47 recovered. And control of the bomb as well, but plenty of utility for Overtake Sector to try and ease their way back into this long doors position, but Umar is going to put the pressure down bottom mid, able to convert onto Lucas. Man gets him out of the round. And Learcy only has one option. That's going to be to go charging through. Pops a flashbang, like a ship in the night has changed places with Shiraz. But a flick of the wrist will rip his head off. It's a 6th round for Outfit49. And that 7-5 that you were talking about Overtake wanting to close out on the T side, thrown out the window.
Out the window. Well, more opportunity. Not so far off and away, I guess. Work still to be done, my friend. A solid single over top side there that eventually needs to be fallen away from. It'll only stick around for so long. Reasonable is that maybe they want to try and reaggress at some stage, knowing that Overtake like to take these fights in one motion. Will not actually get them much done as Shiraz is spamming hopelessly, not needlessly, but actually giving room maybe over to the B players to feel a little bit more confident in the double site setup. Springy is under contest and dead. Done with only one. Site has been swarmed and they've got one to deal with even then, but up close, Umar has been snuffed out. So this is a very, very solid position, knowing that they're probably backs up against the wall. It's Intra who goes on the move. He's the high HP player, and it was an almost impossible clutch for Learcy, frankly, if he were to go down, but he doesn't.
It was a great opportunity for Intra to actually find the fight and try to even out the numbers. Successfully done so, though. A pop flash over the top will allow entrance towards window, and Learcy's going to hit the floor, but Intra playing Ring Around the Rosie doesn't run quick enough. Maybe those wires will be cut in the nick of time. It's going to be a 7th round for Outfit49, and I mean, the confidence that's on display from Intra. Shown and capitalized on, but then immediately snuffed out, so whether or not Overtake will be able to add at least the end of this T side at half is yet to be answered. That 5th round on the board would mean a little bit more breathing room going into the CT side. But it's breathing room that I don't think is necessary for Overtake sector.
Okay. Well, that's one of the first times in a long time, if not ever, we've seen an op from Outfit49 actually find them in the opener. Although it is a scout for Umar, not necessarily the highest caliber you were describing earlier on. Depend is not done. Maybe overzealous in going higher in elevation, trying to go even further into frags. He's only got one other in the center of the site. A scan through the smoke actually successful from Man. And that is going to make things a lot more easy for this to be called a 3 versus 1 to what could have very well have been at any point in time 2v2. Decimation of one more. A molly that bounced and banks off the wrong side of the wall, but an unknown man who he thought was at the box will bring into life at the right time. Find them double the round count, that of which their opponents have been able to cure. I will say, this is a lot more like it. This is probably the best I could have expected to have gone, and that was even giving them a little extra credence.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially considering we just came off of a 13-3 loss for Outfit49 on their own map pick at that. So, like you said, probably a little bit more than you and I expected. Outfit49 trying to put pressure out towards A long. Springy was told to hold on for just a second, but that's going to open up an opportunity for Overtake sector to get aggressive right back through mid. A flashbang is a little bit late. Springy not going to find any contact off the back of it. But adjustments already happening for Overtake. See Umar on the prowl towards top mid. Has to deal with Shiraz first, but the duel not happening in his favor, so the A bomb site going to be under contest next. Learcy offers up shots, still has Sacrifice tucked into Gandalf for this late activation play, but the dual Berettas have just made their way in towards Cat and are already 25 HP. So an argument is to be made that Outfit49 are having a lot of success, a lot more than they should have in this late round. Learcy's thrown into the 1v4, but Springy puts the team on his back, finding the hat trick and carrying Outfit 49 to that 9th round.
That's more like it. This is the kind of map that I was sort of alluding to when it comes down to Springy being the sub, to where he's not really going to be caring about the level of opponent that he's playing. He's going to take it to you no matter the case. He's ready for those fights. He wants them. He's not going to be afraid of anybody in this server right now, and that's what you need. Level up, surely, from him. Same can be said for, obviously, your Depends and your Lucases, but if we're going to be talking about one player, the one who was brought in at the later stage of this being even a conversation of a game, Springy's done all that he's needed to, and then some on Dust. We're going into very easy conversion. A very small slip-up should still be brought back, no matter. There's barely a damn thing on them. Corner goes uncleared, and then maybe Man's AK goes missing, but even that I find to be, again, manageable. And even that's going to happen instantaneously.
And then walks away with 2 kills. The Deagle of Intra makes an appearance, but only the effect of having 1 kill. Jason's still a little bit paranoid about a late top mid peek, but won't actually receive one. It'll be the A long hit from the side of Outfit 49, and Jason, all he can really do is hope that there's some sort of exit frag potential. Maybe even recover Lucas's rifle. But you can also see that Springy is here to maintain overwatch of exactly that, not wanting to let it get into the wrong hands. And so Jason just has to hope someone walks into the crosshair. The first of those being Depend. He's able to sit him down without much of a problem. He's just waiting at this point, and waiting we are, as a 10th round will be put onto the board for Outfit 49. It's going to be the first to double digits here on Dust 2, the map pick of Overtake Sector. And so, with this being said, I feel like this creates more questions going into Mirage. I mean, if Overtake were able to put up a dominant performance on the map pick of Outfit 49, and now we're seeing the complete opposite, who's to say that Mirage won't be as labored for either of these teams?
It's kind of like the double-edged sword I was talking about with Overtake on Dust 2 that I wasn't fully expecting to see, but I think was entirely possible given the sample size against other rosters like your Regains and your Detonates. How many games they played against Detonate in particular, like 5, maybe 4 Dust 2s are amidst that. So, yeah, it gets shaky sometimes, and it's a matter of it becoming a spiral that they need to change, that they need to adapt, that has not yet been fully realized, or at least it wasn't back on their T side. But here and now, opportunity to level the playing field, snatched away, quickly down by not 1 but 2 players total. Advantage by 1 or Outfit 49 still looking to scale on a couple of different avenues. They need to consolidate because that's going to be an opening to where throwing a flash in the middle of nowhere means that you're leaving yourself more an open to Jason swing.
And there's a pivot towards the B bomb site for the side of Outfit 49, though. Overtake still a little bit hesitant as to whether or not they want to get the rotations back over to A. As soon as the upper B smoke has dissipated, Learcy's going to go checking into the double doors. We'll communicate that the utility is being thrown over the head, and Springy will be shut down on the entrance. Jason able to offer support to Learcy, but Jason peeking out of the window finds a second kill for himself in the round. Intra, maybe even a boost over the top of the window, but maybe just the double peek once the bomb gets planted. Oh, resmoke towards door. Man has the bomb on the back. He's just trying to outmaneuver. But as you mentioned, this is a very difficult position to be in. Tap of the bomb doesn't draw out any sort of peek from the side of Overtake. Maybe even another, but Man's going to try and take the fight to them instead, and will be punished for doing so. It's Intra to put the cherry on top, but the combined patience and the combined persistence from Jason and Intra both, I think, is what won them that round. I mean, not being alarmed to go charging into the site off the back of the tap. And I think that comes with the level of experience that those two players have, but still need to see more from them if they want to turn Dust 2 around.
It's a shame there was no real right answer to that for Man. At that point, at least. It came down to the clutch. But I'd say rather impressive and potentially indicative of what we're going to witness for the remainder of the CT side for Overtake, given that they were out on space, out on manpower, but still able and willing to take on duels that Outfit49 were leaving themselves open to, much more so than they should have. There's immediate stuff at Catwalk. Goodbye to any member of the defensive that would have looked to have put their feet down firmly planted. Maybe a crazy flash for this MP9, and maybe, I say, because once the smoke does fade, there's going to be a number of players, and I don't think that any of them are anti, but they're actually looking more actively in towards mid than anything else, and that's the important part. Flash does go wide. Umar can't deepen himself in towards this angle any further. Not without another. All of his ammo required for that kill, but it may have been worth it, but I don't know. After sacrifice, doesn't really throw his life away for anything other than being noble.
Yeah, man walks away with 2 frags on the charge back up towards Catwalk. Jason is close by into CT spawn, but has to be conscious of this player out towards long. The smoke gives away the position, and Jason is thrusted into the position that he didn't necessarily want it to be in, and that's running through that smoke looking for the fight. Learsy completely known about after that late lurk through mid. Outfit49 on 11. Only need 2 more to put away the map pick of Overtake Sector. And this would be a confidence booster, I think, for Outfit49 going into a map like Mirage.
This map, in and of itself, is a ridiculous early opening showing. Very, very happy with what we've seen from across the board. It's Jason on the 3rd player to have whipped out the scout. Who've gotten himself a kill, though. They don't hold any HE grenades to reopen that smoke once it is to be replenished. That's going to be a one and done. Everybody else is going to be onto their own devices to try and make the best with what he's been able to give them so soon. Oh, that's going to be a meaty one. That might hit 2 players if they continue to walk it, but it'll just be Umar. The molly will also hit him, and he's going to be pressed up. But only the 1 player, Lucas, was able for the immediate fight. The other 2 were just about to get there, but he seems to be enough.
Yeah, and Outfit49 forced to what feels like play into the hands of Overtake. Learsy close by towards mid. And there's a potential that Sacrifice is able to drop off of Catwalk and offer support through CT spawn, and that's exactly the move he's going to make. There's going to be a gap on the top of that CT smoke as it wasn't with the one on the ledge, but Intra scoops up the MP9 out of his teammate's dead cold hands, and it's a collapse of this mid-fight. Outfit49 dissolve under the pressure of this Overtake Sector mid's clear. And it's all left into Springy's hands. Walks away with 2 kills and only needs 1 more to convert this round. But an Arai flashbang does turn the gaze, but he's forced to go fighting, not necessarily when he needed to. An Overtake Sector on to 6 after a scrappy force buy.
It's going to need to be rounds truly stacked. For every 1 Outfit49 are allowed to win, you're going to need to take 3. So 3 now, 1 to Outfit49, then another 3 straight. They're beat. Them's the maths. Right now, I mean, if they're to say something about that, is that this one, dust your hands off and say that this is the kinds of rounds that CT side of Overtake should absolutely never be letting loose. They know what they're playing up against. They should have 100% knowledge, especially in accuracy from the opening, aka in tandem, and confirm. 2 players down dead at Catwalk, only with pistols. But there goes a burst out. Blast from the past. The Springy's been somewhat silent for the last few rounds, but he's here and now, able to get them in for maybe 1 more pick if they're... Oh, just a little bit more ammo in that gun.
Oh. Yeah, that has to be a little bit of a tilter if you're Springy. Not able to convert that kill due to the lack of ammo, but Depend has a Glock on his hands. And the bomb's still down towards top mid. Will be spotted out early. Does a little bit of damage, but Sacrifice still able to walk away with the kill. And Intra has 3, so plenty of money in the bank accounts. Umar will get that AWP placed back into his bombs. And the rest of the squad has money to purchase through and through. Outfit49 have that same luxury, although Depend draws the short end of the stick with the Galil and only a smoke and a flash. Try and buy some semblance of space. Springy, however, currently leading the leaderboard for Outfit49, 18 and 10. We talked about it. It's been a little bit quiet recently, but still impact being felt throughout the server. Flashbang over the top of mid. Umar able to convert when it matters most. Overtake immediately backing up this posture that they had set up towards Catwalk.
Like how Umar flies back to long corner, knowing that they could have timing them and taken it on their own, and now he can play that solo whilst they trade places at Catwalk with 2 rifles, set up flash as well. Intra is going to be going beyond this, I can only figure. Sacrifice holds the flash, lets it loose. He's going to turn, pop. Anybody home? Not via soul. Smoke keep them 20 seconds longer from getting in this direction, and it's everything they would have wanted and more. However, it doesn't necessitate they won't continue their path on the destruction into this area prior to their full commitment. Like, can only imagine now with Bomb ever so slightly leaning in towards that mid position with 2 rotated back to B, and only 4 standing, that this should be at least the pop, at the very most, a split.
Yeah, we're not even going to see the ladder. Let's Depend and Shiraz making their way back into upper B. Springy going to act as the entry frag, but the smoke keeps them at bay even longer. Should be the patience on display, but the longer they give Overtake to finally facilitate the rotations back over to the B bomb site, is the more firepower they have in the back pocket. The smoke break is a little bit short, and the flashbang hits its mark, but the crossfire's been established. Springy's able to separate one piece of the equation out and finds a second kill that he pulled out of his back pocket, but the resmoke towards door is going to be in time. There's 2 players running through the window, and the first is going to try and chop away the bomb, but they won't even get the plant down as Outfit49 suffer another round loss at the hands of Overtake.
Yeah, and that round was wicked. That round never had a chance to breathe. It felt like that they were going on and on. Fight after fight. Not even able to get that plant off. I thought that they for sure would, to be honest with you. And Springy doing as much work as he possibly can to keep them moving, keep them motivated. But there's that 3-round stretch now that they're looking to top and topple. He hits 20 and 11. He's starting to secede from, rather, exceed, pardon, everybody else in the server. Creating a gap in between them. Something teammates are going to need to join him at the hip side for once the rifles are back out. Umar, he, in the last 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken, on the op, was the one to find the opening pick, too. That's big to note, where he was 8 and 16, if I'm... Maybe he was 8 and 15, but even still, the more impact we see from him, even in rounds he does die, is the best, because he was somebody we thought would keep that level from that first map, if not continue to push beyond those limits, but he is entirely stalled out up until right now.
Yeah, and I think a portion of that is kind of a testament to how op-heavy the CT side of Dust 2 is, how it enables some of the longer angles. With a fast push up towards Catwalk. Catwalk drop is forced. Jason not able to connect the dots, but able to find a good chunk of damage. And Sacrifice is going to be the one to have to recover the slack, but it won't come in time. Man advantage still secured for this Outfit49 lineup. No rifles in the hands, and Learsey able to even the numbers for just a moment's notice, but a rare missed shot of that AWP gifts another gift at life. Learsey's going to go charging from Catwalk, shuts down man 327, and the sole player left alive is Shiraz. He's able to separate the head from the shoulders of Umar, but Learsey now creeping over the top of the site. He'll run out of ammo, and both players out of ammo. It's Learsey with the UPSP that has to hit a little bit of a KZ to put the finishing touches on round 20. It's a nail-biter at minimum. But Overtake still find 9.
Yeah, that was a lot closer than I think they would have liked it to be. Overtake. They can buy without a problem now, but the next round is where they would have wanted to have a couple more bodies still standing. To pocket a couple of dollars given in donation by Outfit49, but no such sort. They have pickpocketed them for every penny they've had. This round is going to be all but determining for the game, frankly. The loss bonus having been depleted from Overtake, in addition to them not having much in the reserves. It's Outfit49 who are going to be given prime opportunity to use everything that they've been able to use now. But there goes Umar again as the opener. Maybe not in the last round, but he's made it a regular, reoccurring theme of this CT.
Yeah, I feel like we were touching on Anubis of Outfit49 being a little bit choreographed is starting to make its appearance somewhat here late. A lot of noise towards A long, plenty of utility to back it up. Still, there's a late lurk back up catwalk. That's going to be Springy trying to be a thorn in the side, while Umar goes aggressive and finds another pick. That AWP really swift with how it's actually positioning and finding the shots, but a strafe around the corner from Lucas does actually grab his attention for just enough time to force a missed shot. Springy gifted an opportunity to activate from catwalk, but Sacrifice is going to be his undoing.
It's also worth noting that dink that the P250 Umar hit before he died, and Lucas trying to do what he could with his health where it was because of that is just going to be killed out right quick. Flattened with the offset picking, doing what it can, firing off one after another and popping a couple of skulls, but nothing too meaningful for what would be a round converted. Opt to be recovered. Sacrifice low, it's the best weapon for him. He can lob it back over to Umar. And they can say that those money troubles they once had are no longer going to plague them.
Overtake sector on a roll right now. Winning 5 out of the last 7.
This is
now
bold. This almost guarantees an offer up of app point if Outfit49 lose.
Yeah, but I think part of them thinks that they can still hit with force. And I mean, although they've had success with that towards mid and towards catwalk, I'm not sure how much that's actually going to, come to their side and help them in terms of an all-out hit through either A long or B tunnels. I mean, especially when you're in the man disadvantage early thanks to Sacrifice. And the block smoke doesn't help your case even further. As spams through that smoke, drops Springy down. And like you mentioned, I mean, a map victory for Overtake waiting in the wings, provided that Outfit49 lose this round, and they're already being put into the back seat.
Yeah, Ollie for smoke. Individual exchange, one in which will actually be more favorable for the side of Outfit49, given that they had unintentionally burned a nade from their opponents who felt pressured inside mid. So now, they can choose to play with it as they please, with the last of their utility being flashbangs. Do we pop through? Do we scale cat? You've got options in that regard to where either one of them might actually work in your well, but it's going to be the Crossfire set into mid doors where one of these flashes are going to need to pop for your peak, or you are a dead man walking. Double peek now as the AK is around the corner, but he wasn't even needed. Sacrifice has it handled. The B site, the last to be pressured, playing in the deep ends of it. And again, you see this just look to be melted, mangled, and a buyback here would mean game lost for the side of Outfit49. So a half buy on the horizon, I can only imagine.
Yeah, surely. And I'm almost wondering what caused the little moment of hesitation towards upper B from Outfit49. It felt like if they were able to just continue with their charge out of upper B and maybe even just wait for a re-execute moment, it feels like they would have had more success than that attempted pivot back towards mid.
I was going to make a caster call, but chat already took it from me. Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking my job.
11-11 make a wish.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can take
What's your wish, Tony?
You can take my spot. My wish? I can't tell you my wish or it won't come true.
That is, yeah. I forgot that was part of the rule book.
Yeah, sorry. But it's a good one.
Are we going to end up... I'm about to end up like Obsession, right? I'm going to be madly in love with you. That's what's about to happen.
Again, I can't tell you. Or it won't come true.
Round 23 between Outfit49 and Overtake sector. This one surely decides who ends up taking the map pick of Overtake. And it's one more scrappy buy from the side of 049. Flashbang over the top.
Serious?
Yeah, it looks very difficult as they finally convert the 2 kills that are necessary to open up this B bomb site. A smoke towards window and towards door will ensure that Overtake don't have at least visual reconnaissance of what's going on, but Lucas has the backstab onto Intra. He has to find the timing and does actually convert the kill, so with Depend punching the numbers in, the numbers are now in favor of Outfit49. Round that you're a little bit hesitant on, Tony, but Outfit49 is still swinging for the fences. Sacrifice kept at bay by the Molotov, going for the jump spot into window, but will not spot Depend should be a relatively easy hard clear, but the AK-47 being picked up is going to draw the attention away. Sacrifice goes flying in, able to convert the first, looking for the second, but doesn't spot him until too late. It's Lucas to activate from Big Box and sit Sacrifice out of the round. 10 seconds left on this bomb timer, and Umar has to get a move on, but he is decapitated. It has finally been a labored map point for Outfit49, but they have made it there.
All right, look, 2 players. We're going to be without AKs right now for the side of Outfit49, given that. And the CT buy is still looking fine. So this round, still negligible from the last fiscally to what they'll be able to provide. But those are not the worst thing in the world. It's going to be a matter of the sniper rifles, where Umar never got a chance last round. It was damn near close. I figured there'd be another kill from the B-bomb site hold from the player who was back plat in the initial engagements. It looked as if it was ready and raring as the T's were kind of whiffing onto him, but he was exchanging in kind. Now, here, no more room for failure. It all comes down to what they can accomplish, and something that Umar will do again and again is find you your first, but an overzealous introduction to intra in through long doors, that's not ideal.
Absolutely not. Umar's back on this aggression, back out towards A long. Depends surely, I think, spotted the foot, but doesn't actually register it. The throw of the smoke, or at least the noise, is going to give Umar the intuition that he can go peeking. But after not finding the frag, Overtake are going to prioritize all of their firepower to snuffing out this A-long lurk so that it doesn't come to bite them in the ass later, but Depend is living up to the name. Converts a kill onto Sacrifice, is waiting for the swing of Umar, but a little bit too short on that jiggle, opens up the door for that AWP. Umar waiting for even further of a cross towards the site, but a missed shot once more doesn't help his team's case unless just Jason goes flying with the M4A1S. Umar separates the head from the shoulders, and it's all into Lucas's hands. Able to find the first towards Catwalk, but now faced with 2 players he has to combat against, and we're going to overtime.
There you go. CT side had an immense heat up from the side of Overtake. So if there were a moment to go into overtime, and for it to be the best of opportunities, it would be now. Heat is on. Players are feeling a little bit more elevated than ever before. It looks to be. So give it your best shot, and don't leave anything on the table. This is your more an open chance to close. This op looked like it had a late comm to go over that boost, and it will mean that he's going to stare down Cat instead, and it actually pans out. It actually works into his favor.
Wow.
Because Umar goes so very wide, and he is gone. No more openings for you, my friend. You are on the opposite end of that ticket.
I feel like that's the first steps for Outfit49 to start finding viable rounds on the T side, is shutting down that opening frag potential that Umar's always threatening. Like a ship in the night, Intra crosses positions with Man. Man keen to the fact that there's a player in the smoke, will capitalize, but it's going to be a quick pivot up towards Catwalk, and Man has to know that he can take the reins of this round into his hands. Push is happening. There's already a player close by as well. That's going to be Jason, but he's spotted walking through that smoke, and the spam won't come to fruition. The reload is forced to be pulled off, but Learcy's trying to capitalize. And as much time as they've given Overtake, they've been able to creep their way back in towards ramp, but it's all being shut down. The gunfight's going the way of Outfit49, and they convert a 13th.
Okay, not being fatigued by that last round in overtime, let alone any of the others that had missed them. They come through swinging. As soon as we reset, quite literally, no less. 49 said that somebody was going to need to rejoin Springy at the top side of that board, and look who it's been. Lucas tied with him now, and unleashed 2 beasts that are going to be swinging on aggressive through not only Catwalk, but this time at long. Intra floored. TTs do want to go dueling to some degree, and Umar's off the mark in money. His teammate not so much, but it was still a dangerous one. Umar is online, but 1 bullet is all that it'll take to kill him outright. Sacrifice not yet done.
Yeah, still paranoid about some of this Catwalk pressure, but now knows he has to find the frag towards ramp and successfully walks away with it. It's the 2v2. The AWP of Shiraz is being called back all the way towards top mid, but that's exactly where Depend has found an opening. He's been able to crawl back into lower tunnels. Look at this. As soon as the noise has been made, and the lack thereof on the A bomb site, Raz and Depend are going to try and reunite towards long doors and find this opening that has been ever so elusive. Learcy is starting to lean towards B, as well as Sacrifice. Yeah, both of them starting to lean towards B, and so the door completely swung open for Outfit 49 towards long. And it's only a matter of time until Overtake realize that they have guessed the site incorrectly.
He's gone walking. He's cleared on through. Sacrifice still cognizant of mid being open and the op being in play. He's crouched on that corner, and oh my lord, this is Sacrifice's round. Almost the ace. Now Shiraz, he's required. Bring out the big gun. They'll scatter, actually, these two. A smoke in towards Catwalk, a flash to maybe even peek or cross in towards Spawn. Will not catch anyone off. Blasted in the backside, and what a round from Sacrifice. Not himself, but his teammates in that round in order to power himself up via blood. And he's called for it. 13-3, or 13-3, 13-13.
Yeah, and I mean, Sacrifice being able to recover that op, a little bit less of an investment that Overtake will have to make into round 27 for Umar to have his weapon of choice. But here's my question going into the last round of the first half of Overtime 1, Tony, is does Umar continue on with these aggressive opening duels, or does he kind of reserve himself? Because it feels like over the past few rounds, he hasn't been able to find the opening that Overtake have been reliant on.
They only got one round here left on CT side, so I'd say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's still got a majority success. If he's feeling fine, I wouldn't say anything other than you do as you please. Right now, he is on a decent line. No, is that Jason instead, as a matter of fact. The second sniper rifle accompanied by a rifle down low. He's going to be to find the frag, and Umar can be relieved of his duties in having to do so. He's still got chances later on to find frags, because now it's mid under high pressure. They've seen this peak before. They've seen that peak before. That is Outfit 49 reading and mangling the early aggression from the player on the right side of the door and anticipating the second to swing. That is absolutely pristine out from them. That is so smart. That is absolute evolution.
I mean, it was spearheaded by Springy nonetheless, finding that opening duel onto the player in CT, and then immediately reserving himself back through the double doors.
Yup.
Masterclass, if you will. Luke is going to be left back towards Catwalk to try and be a diversion for his team to find an opening into the B-bomb site. But as this round lingers on, you can see that Learcy is starting to lean back towards window. Umar fires a shot. It's missed both times, actually, and the smoke is going to be dropped. Actually, it's a flashbang, and that's going to prompt Umar to finally convert the kill. But look at the rotations that have already been made for Overtake. They've rotated back towards mid, back towards Catwalk, and Outfit 49 have the door swung wide open through this B-bomb site. Molotov towards window, a smoke towards the door goes actually deeper rather than short, and so it gives an opportunity for this player close to actually find an opening, but Depend is going to shut it down. Number's going to be punched in just the nick of time, but they have to deal with the flank of Jason first. The spray goes awry, and man repositions to find the fight towards door, but Umar converts two. It's a 14-13.
I wish I could have seen that second kill from Umar too. It felt like he only needed to hit the one bullet, so... And easy does it, but reaction's unreal. Speed is theirs. It's been quite some time before we felt like it was ever going to be a conversation. That would be the case. You say so. It is well earned, and it might be a turn of the times, but that T side, we gotta remember, only was able to find 4 in total. Half that of their opponents in Outfit 49. So getting the same kind of start, being able to split themselves so soon, that will be the move. And Depend has been downed. Jason, with the shuffling of these sniper rifles between him, Umar, and the scout Sacrifice, it has been who's who. Who's to find that first? And then now it's his turn, so it seems.
And I mean, the fact that the double op is making an appearance on the T side of Dust 2 at that, I think that goes to show the level of confidence that Overtake are playing with in this current moment. Whether or not Outfit 49 is able to really dissuade that I think becomes the next question. You can see the collapse being prepped up back towards mid. Man has some second thoughts about whether or not he should be playing close, but it's just going to be a reposition for the time being. Aggression towards Catwalk. Lucas able to avert the gaze of the AWP, but the activation from Man bottom mid completely stunts the growth that Overtake were trying to have towards Catwalk. A Molotov to try and force out anyone close. Actually, it's going to be a smoke in towards CT to allow the mid to be split, but Umar's going to be left on an island. There's a player still towards top mid, and that's going to be Jason, so both the ops in the vice grip of Lucas. He's sure to activate sooner rather than later, but Jason turns in the nick of time. Springy only good for one on the B-bomb side. A sacrifice is going to walk his way in, or presumably, but that lurk smoke doesn't allow him to have any further vision into this bomb site. Umar just has to go hunting through window to actually find this kill and open it up, and he's successfully done so. Shiraz is left into the 1v3 and has the op in hand, but Umar is already trained on the angle.
Yeah, worst possible place to be with the worst possible opponent to be up against, as he is going to be left with 8 health, and Umar, don't peek again. You are not in a position to be able to give your life away for a fun, silly little duel, not without somebody more than willing to trade, but actually, look, Jason is that player, and he's going to blast him himself. And, they got map series point on us too. I don't think, I was imagining I'd be saying this up until that CT side went on the spree, and they never let off the gas.
Yeah, and I want to say that this is a common theme with Overtake Sector's roster, is that map 2 always ends up coming to overtime. I mean, even in the 2-0 versus Regain, and although that map was Mirage, we still saw a 16-14 victory for Overtake Sector in overtime. And then the same thing against New Legends. 16-13 on Inferno, on that second map of Inferno, second map of Inferno. So I think Overtake just need to start doing some downloading early on into how their opponent is actually defaulting or just trying to execute onto some of these sites, and then they're able to make adjustments because of that. And I mean, it's clearly shown in the latter half of regulation that Overtake are able to make the adjustments. But now it's about carrying those over into overtime. Umar with that AWP is going to back up Intra, but Intra should be the main spearhead into Catwalk.
Like they've got Shiraz just kind of periodically checking back towards Cat, now holding for the close post. Lucas also walking, so this is a decent enough setup. The nades give. These are going to need to try and isolate some of these peaks. I don't know what Shiraz just should. You actually see anybody?
I don't think so.
Gives away the ops location. I don't know if that's going to be to any value, at least in terms of utilization from their opponent, but I sure as hell imagine that it would. They drop their mollies accordingly. Their smokes are also going to be cutting off some vision from the player who looked to maybe get a top fat box. It's just going to be a matter of isolating Shiraz, and they can't do so. Not at all. He is playing with a shotgun up practically, as every one of them give way to the top side swing. One bullet is all that it'll take to kill him, but the same can be said from his off as he goes wider and wider, denied from getting 4, but he will have done more than enough to keep them alive on Dust 2.
Yeah, and kind of how I was critical of Outfit49 not putting the pedal to the metal towards upper B. I feel like Overtake suffering that same kind of fate, running through that catwalk position. I mean, I'm confused as to why the decision was made. I almost think that in part it has to do with the information of the op being located, because they think they can overwhelm it playing towards ramp, but no one will actually know. That positioning been taken from Umar. Lucas trying to break the smoke open, but has second thoughts about it. Learcy's playing hall monitor towards long doors. Shiraz still maintaining his visual over the cross. So Outfit49 still heavily postured towards this A bomb site. After giving up mid real estate, will try to bolster down some of the extremities. The op of Umar is just waiting for this peek from the cross of man.
Tap away, looking to get a little bit, go on to a fine through it, but not going to be getting much. Springy has been regularly hit with some damage in the early stages of almost all of his CT-sided rounds, to be honest with you, both regulation and overtime included. But not to say that he's not going to have his time in the sun some round, someday, if they continue to push onwards in this game. It's going to be CT smoked, a T-side entry, a pincer to the player in the back of this bomb as he will be stuck in. Actually, them were stuck in with man for a moment. Umar, regularly he or Jason staring down mid, but they didn't see him initially. Depend will react eventually, and there is just not a very easy way of saying this, but Sacrifice is going to need to destroy his two teammates because he has no nades and no friends any longer at his side. This is a good angle to play from for the first kill, but it's all a matter of spacing onto the next of them after. Softened to 6-7. That's your cue.
Approach comes. Outfit49 charged through the door. Sacrifice looking to isolate the 1v1s. Has been given an opportunity at Shiraz. The next player is revealed, and Sacrifice is playing a dangerous game, but it only takes one bullet. And with 67 HP, Sacrifice pulls off the 16th round for Overtake Sector. Pulling off this series in 2-0 fashion, but map 2 looked a little bit more labored from the side of Overtake.
Yeah, but like, I mean, all things considered, the win is the win at the end of the day, and that is entirely on Outfit49 with their inability to close given the gap that they had created after what was, I believe, a 10-4, 11-4 maybe even? If I'm not mistaken, it was at the very least 10-4. And going on to that, looking at the stretch of rounds they had on their CT side, they'd flipped the script, but closing is all that matters at the end of the day. And in that position where finally a lead was had for Overtake, you see it didn't take them very long to get actually through the barrier of maybe even the mental, physical, or individual level of their T-side shortcomings in the regulation side of things.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like this is a common trend, or starting to become a little bit of a common trend with Overtake Sector, as map 1 will be relatively one-sided, whether it's to their favor or not. And then map 2 will take a little bit of downloading of information from their opponent to actually identify how they're playing and then make a plan into how they can approach the rest of the game with. So I think that goes to speak on the level of cohesion that this Overtake Sector lineup is playing with and the amount of experience that they do have under their belt.
Yeah, you could see all the way through that was starting to shine through as far as the mentioning of them having to close the series after 49. You need that level of fortitude as well as, you know, variability on the side of Overtake to do something outside of the box in their own regards, similarly to how Outfit49 tried to on Anubis. Didn't really all the way come through in that regard, but it looked like that there was an Overtake series to be had, and one that obviously has a little bit more to be reviewed for themselves. But Outfit49, I mean, they've got a really, really solid foundation of something to look on from both of these maps, even with the substitute, to say that they had something cooking. And I'd say that Springy did as much as he could have and then some to be able to get them to the point of even conversation of taking that dust too, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, considering that they put up a better result against Overtake Sector than they did against Regain, which Overtake, keep in mind, did beat Regain in pretty dominant fashion. So I think this is a testament to Outfit49 having a little bit of confidence coming out of this matchup, but still not enough to actually draw it over the line to find a series win and even a map win at that. But still, like you said, I think there's a solid foundation as to what they can work on.
Yeah, there's a look back, and, you know, we're going to be talking about things that we like to see tonight. myhud, listen, that's what we were using here all the way through and through. It was a pleasure to be able to witness it on my end as a caster, and I'm sure that as a spectator you can agree as well, that it was well enough worth the watch, and I hope that you guys thought it was worth the listen as well. It's customizable in the sense for Counter-Strike 2 that you're able to use for streamers, or even just as a fan who looking to do a couple of games easy here and there. Your layout you can choose, your colors, sponsors if you've got them, God bless. But we're going to be closing this stream on that note, if I am not mistaken. It was a blast, Lakert. I had a great time with you here tonight, and I appreciate you for joining me with it.
Yeah, it's always a good time to get to share the mic with you. I hope your dream does come true from that 11-11, but like you said, for us over here on the Crossfire stream, that's going to be it. If you like what you saw, make sure to follow on all of our socials, because we do have some more exciting playoff action coming, as this was the last matchup of the group stage. So until the playoffs do start, that's going to be it from me and Tony, and we will catch you guys at the start of playoffs.
This live stream is sponsored by SCL, an all-in-one CS2 training platform with a practice server, 2D viewer, and unique training modes like defense mode. Defend sites against bot executes that get harder every round. And trade fire, a pre-fire mode where enemies actually try to trade you. You can run every mode in co-op and track your progress and stats across all your training. Plus, you get an advanced 2D demo viewer. Use code Crossfire40 for 40% off your first month. That's under $3.